Welcome, welcome, welcome to Sports Talk with Newton. I'm still Newton. Now, big question for you. I actually want your input. Who will win the U.S. Open? Who will win the 114th U.S. Open? Simple question. But it's not a simple answer. This is not an easy answer whatsoever. Anyway, nothing's easy about this answer. Who will win the U.S. Open? Your options: Martin Kaymer, Ricky Fowler, Eric Compton, Henrik Stenson, or the field, if you think it'll be a player other than those four. So look at Martin Kaymer. He was 10 under through 2 rounds. U.S. Open record. He bogeyed 2, 4, 6, 13, and 15 with a birdie on 18. But the hole that really saved him was the par 5 fifth, in which he eagled. So what would have been an otherwise detrimental round was only a 2 over 72 to put him at a 3-round total of 202 strokes. A 5-shot lead over Ricky Fowler and Eric Compton, who are at 3 under for the tournament. Henrik Stenson and Dustin Johnson tied for 4th, 1 shot behind Fowler and Compton. Martin Kaymer had great, fantastic rounds 1 and 2. A great Thursday and Friday. Not so great in the weekend. Ricky Fowler went par for the course on those 2 days, and Martin Kaymer was shooting 65s. But Fowler still gained 5 strokes today on Kaymer, since Kaymer went 2 over, the German, the winner of the Players' Championship earlier this year, gives 2 strokes back as Ricky Fowler shoots a 67. Birdies on 3, 5, 10, 13, and 17, with bogeys on the par 3 9th and the par 4 11th for a round of 67. Another man shot a 67 today to stay level with Ricky Fowler. It's Eric Compton. If you know his story with the heart problems he's gone through, you'll certainly be a fan of his this weekend. He shot a 2 over 72 on Thursday, got both of those shots back on Friday with a 2 under 68, and today matched Ricky Fowler with a 67, who also eagled number 5, a short 530-yard par 5. I say it's short. It's long for me. It's short for these guys who bomb it off the tee the way they do. Eagled 5, bogey 3 and 6, but birdies on 7, 8, 10, and 11. Bogey on 12, birdie on the par 3 15th, but gave it right back on the 16th for a 67. Stenson, the Swede, and Dustin Johnson, my fellow American, each shot even par 70, having shot 69 the 2 days before, both of them matching each other shot for shot, all 3 rounds, 69, 69, 70 for Stenson and Dustin Johnson. Brandt Snedeker alone in 6th at 1 under par for the tournament. Matt Kuchar, Brooks Koepka, and Kevin Na, the only other players in the field at even par or better. Those are the only 9 guys par or better. Let that sink in. I know it's not unusual for U.S. Open, but people have been saying this has been a really easy course with all the rain that Pinehurst number 2 has gone through. And remember, Pinehurst will also host the U.S. Women's Open next week. Back-to-back championships for the USGA at Pinehurst. But Keimer, with such a significant lead entering today, could afford to make some mistakes, and that he did. But that eagle on 5 saved him in the way that it propelled Eric Compton well back into contention. Keimer looked vulnerable today for the first time all week, and that's something that players like Fowler and Compton are going to love. So while I've been talking, hopefully you've been voting, and right now everybody's saying Martin Keimer. Martin Keimer. I get it. He's not a bad choice. With a 5-shot lead entering the last day. But we've seen leads like this been lost before. The PGA Tour this year has been a little unnerving, I'm going to say, for final round leaders. They haven't done the greatest with finishing, those who have led after the first 3 rounds. They've really not. We need to see a closer. Can Martin Keimer be a closer this week at Pinehurst? I'm not sure. We'll find out. But I'm going to say anyone even par better has a shot. And let's not forget about Justin Rose, the Englishman, the defending champion of the U.S. Open. Jordan Spieth coming off such a remarkable tournament at the Masters. Chris Kirk and Brennan DeYoung all at 1 over, only 9 shots back. Somehow Victor Dubuisson is only 2 shots back. He has not had a great week. But obviously the scoreboard says otherwise. I've not seen him play very well. Seen him duff some chips. No rounds at a par this week, but 2 at even par. Which is why I guess he's somehow managing to stay tied for 14th after 3 rounds. Keep voting. The poll question is going to stay as we go from a championship about to be decided tomorrow. And if not, remember, the U.S. Open has an 18-hole playoff on Monday if players are tied for the lead after 4 rounds, which will end tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Stanley Cup is over. It is over. It was almost a whitewash, but it was the Los Angeles Kings, who are again the kings of the NHL for the 2nd time in 3 years. Why did the Kings win Game 5? Now, why did they win the series? Why did they win Game 5? They had more shots every period than the Rangers did. Every period. First period 7-6, second period 10-6, third period 12-3. First overtime 13-10, nobody scored, so they went to a second overtime 9-5. They outshot the Rangers. And that 9th shot in overtime by Alec Martinez, the wrist shot, gave the Kings the victory, gave the Kings a series, which gave the Kings the 2014 Stanley Cup Final victory, which of course earns them the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup in all its shining glory. Total 51-30 on shots. You can't blame Lundqvist for this loss, New York. You really can't. He faced 51 shots. 51 shots. 48 saves. 94%. 94% on saves. Lundqvist did his job. He did his job. Did his duty for his club. But the Kings broke through And if you get 51 shots, you should at least score 3 times, which the King did. They won it in 5. Every game that was in Los Angeles, if I'm correct, every game in Los Angeles went to overtime. Is that right? I believe it is. Every game in Los Angeles went to overtime in this series. And every one of those games in Los Angeles that went to overtime were won by the Los Angeles Kings. LA, boy, do they like to create some thrillers, but they come clutch through in the end. Alex Martinez with the wrist shot to give them the victory. U.S. Open poll question still active? Still going on? Still 100% for Martin Keimer. No one thinks he can choke away that 5-shot lead. It could happen. Probably won't. But we've seen crazier things than that in golf, haven't we? And miracles can happen at Pinehurst, especially the restored version of Pinehurst number 2. There is nothing like it. It's not the same course from 2005 and 1999. It is something totally different. It really is. It is nothing of the same. The winner today is going to be a very unique winner on a very unique golf course. In case you're wondering how Japan would set up their side for the World Cup, they went for the 4-2-3-1 option for defense. 2 defensive midfielders, 3 attacking midfielders, and Osako as the full forward. Those of you interested, Kagawa, an attacking midfielder on the left in this one. Last FIFA World Cup match of the day, starting in about 18 minutes. About 18 minutes until the ceremonies leading up to kickoff. National anthems, the coin toss, and the exchanging of national memorabilia between the captains. Traditions are important in the FIFA World Cup. I have no quarrel with these pre-kickoff ceremonies. Tradition is very important. If you have anything to say, go ahead and comment it in the chat. Or comment below if you're connected with Facebook. Always use the hashtag Newton Sports when discussing this show on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, you can Google +1 us if you'd like to publicly recommend us. You can follow us for the latest information on our show, updates on new shows and events to come. You receive that information quicker than anybody else if all you have to do is follow us. And you can edit your notification settings in your Ustream account settings. Let's check the comments. Let's check my messages. Unfortunate news. The Pittsburgh Steelers, as we know, Chuck Noll has passed away at age 92. Heard some reaction today on other sports networks. Vince Young is claiming he's retired. Let's see how that works. And the Conn Smythe Trophy in the National Hockey League, the postseason MVP awarded to Justin Williams, 25 points in this postseason, helping the Kings win the Stanley Cup and taking home the Conn Smythe Trophy in the process. Justin Williams, your NHL postseason MVP. Back to golf. Justin Rose won over. He double bogeyed the 9th today to fall out of the red numbers. And it's really not good to be in the black in golf. But it is the U.S. Open. And the majority of the players who make the cut are going to be in the black and not in the red. Only 5 players better than par. 6 players better than par. 9 players at even or better. Checking the amateur leaderboard, there's really not much to talk about. Matthew Fitzpatrick, the young Englishman, is 8 over today, a dreadful 78. 12 over for the tournament. I know it's not proper to criticize the amateurs, but we can do this for one reason. After the U.S. Open, Matthew Fitzpatrick claims that he will turn pro following the U.S. Open. This likely in an attempt to claim the low amateur award, as he would have anyway, as long as he finishes his round tomorrow, because he is the only amateur to make the cut. Even though Corey Wissett, an amateur from the United States, had a second round 69, run under par, still had an opening round 77 with a numerous amount of bogeys, a double bogey, but only 2 birdies to miss the cut with his score of 146, as 2 other amateurs did the same thing. Matthew Fitzpatrick is going to be your low amateur at the U.S. Open, but he will not be an amateur for much longer. The cut was at 5 over yesterday. We see players like Jason Duffner, Hunter Mahan, Luke Donald, Hughes Loughton, Mark Wilson, Bubba Watson, Angel Cabrera, Miguel Angel Jimenez, Giles Schwartzel, Dongchai JD, Stephen Gallagher, Ken Duke, all missing the cut. Johnson and Jeff Ogilvy, Aussies, also missing the cut. Nick Watney missed the cut. And the wooden spoon, as they would say, player finished last place in this tournament with, drumroll please, with 81s. That's right, 81s. In the first and second round. Birdie free throughout the tournament. No birdies. No eagles. No double eagles. No holes under par for 36. Out of Japan, Kiyoshi Miyazato, 162. A fabulous 22 over par through 2 rounds. Unfortunately for him, in golf, it's the lowest score that's the best. And that's why he missed the cut in last position. Remember the name, folks. Kiyoshi Miyazato. 22 over, 162. Still 100% of you think Martin Keimer will win the 114th edition of the U.S. Open at Pinehurst number 2. Going in with a 5-shot lead. Will he choke? I hope not. Is there a playoff on Monday? You bet I hope so. Oh, what a fabulous round of golf that would be. Think of the TV ratings that would get. A playoff. An 18-hole playoff to decide the winner of the United States Open Championship. The greatest USGA event that there is. At Pinehurst number 2. Fabulous course, fabulous place, Village of Pinehurst in North Carolina. Very close to the Raleigh-Cary area. Are you intrigued for the U.S. Open? I'm intrigued for the U.S. Open. I would love to be intrigued for the Stanley Cup, but it's over. The Kings going out in 5 games with dominating fashion. I say they're going out with the Stanley Cup, alright. 4 games to 1 over the New York Rangers. NBA, Game 5. Can the Spurs duplicate what the Kings have just done? They're playing at home. Game 5, up 3-1. Celebrate your Father's Day tomorrow with your pop as we find out if the Spurs can bring home the Larry O'Brien Trophy. It's going to be there in San Antonio, that Larry O'Brien Trophy. Will they claim it? Can they prevent it from going home to Miami, where it has been at home for 2 consecutive years? It's been there. Will it stay there? It's not staying there. It's coming back to San Antonio for Game 5. Will it be claimed in Game 5? Can the San Antonio Spurs reach out and grab it? Or will the Miami Heat slap it away? It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. There will be a huge storyline tomorrow, Sunday, at the NBA Finals. Somebody will emerge as a hero, and somebody is going to have an awful mistake and will be widely criticized for it. And if LeBron makes that mistake, oh, you're going to hear about it all off season. Even if the Heat lose, still the Eastern Conference champs. Bron says that's not good enough. Let's be fair. It was a pretty weak Eastern Conference. But there was some hard work to be done at the top with the Pacers playing well this season. Chicago not at their best this season, but Miami and the Pacers still had to duke it out for that number 1 spot, which the Pacers won, by the way. San Antonio will have earned it. We are not going to say that the Miami Heat threw this series away. It will have been earned by San Antonio if they can close out in Game 5. They did something not many people, including myself, didn't think that they would do. They came out of the gates faster than anyone thought they would in Games 3 and 4 in Miami. We didn't think that they could come out with that ferocity away from home in the fashions that they did. They developed an insurmountable lead in Game 3. Nearly there again in Game 4. Boris Diaw, fantastic in Game 4. Nearly got a triple-double. Didn't even manage a double-double, but very close in points, rebounds, and assists, including that phenomenal behind-the-back pass to Thiago Splitter, who couldn't even believe what had just happened. How the ball managed to get to him. Because Boris Diaw, big man, went behind the back. Might want to bring back the old school point forwards. Who needs point guards and small forwards? Bring back the point forwards. Because Boris Diaw is a facilitator, y'all. He really dishes the ball out well. He's throwing dimes. Throwing up dimes. Absolute dimes. He had an abundance of assists. In fact, he might have had 9 assists. I know he had 9 points. Did he only have 8? I think he had 9 when he's at 9. Whew. I think the Spurs are going to win this series, though. I know, real bold prediction, wasn't it? The question is, when will they win it? When will they win the series? When will they clinch it? Will it be in Game 5 on Father's Day? Will it be in Game 6? Or will it be in Game 7? Can the Miami Heat pull out 2 straight? Boris Diaw, Game 4, for all those who are interested. 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 8 points. Very close to his triple-double. Danny Green, the only Spur starter that was not positive in the plus-minus. He was -7. The other starters, +21, +15, +23, and +16 in scoring for the Spurs when they were out on the floor. The starters getting a significant chunk of the minutes. Only Manu Ginobili, again, the only Spur non-starter to get more minutes than a starter. That was Ginobili getting more minutes than Danny Green. Spurs only shot 57.1%. I know it's pretty great, but considering what they've been shooting, that's not so great. The Heat only shot 45%. Made 65% of their free throws. San Antonio, 72% of their free throws. Offensive rebounds. I told you all in the Game 4 preview, offensive rebounds would be a very key statistic. Guess which team doubled the other team's offensive rebounds? Yep, it was San Antonio, doubling the Heat's offensive rebounds. 16 more points in the paint for the Spurs than the Heat. And someone asked me, why did the Spurs win? Well, to put it simply, they had more points in the game than the Heat did, scoring 26 or more points in every quarter, with 29 in the second. Miami did win a quarter, though. Something positive to look for if you're a Heat supporter. Miami won the fourth quarter. It is the only quarter in which they scored more than 21 points. They dropped 29, which was as high as the Spurs dropped in the second. Kawhi Leonard, again, great game, double-double. 20 points, 14 boards. He really filled his stat line with 3 steals, 3 blocks, and 3 dimes. Tim Duncan, 10 defensive rebounds. Needs to clean the offensive glass more, though. If you look at the Miami Heat, the starters combined for a staggering 0 offensive rebounds. I'm huge on offensive rebounds. I think it's a very important statistic. None from the starters. Gotta step your game up on that offensive glass. If they didn't do it, they paid the price. As we get set for Ivory Coast and Japan in the FIFA World Cup, we will wrap up our discussion on NBA Finals before Game 5 tomorrow. I reckon the Spurs win the series up 3-1. You know what the Heat are saying. No team's ever come back from this deficit. They're saying, why not us? Why not them? Sure, why not y'all? But they won't do it. They won't do it. They won't win the series. If they win the series, all y'all can comment in the comment section and tell me that I was wrong. How about that? You get the honor and the privilege to tell me straight in my face I was wrong. I've been wrong many times before. How many predictions have I gotten wrong in this World Cup already? So many goals have been scored. So exciting. I'm glad to be wrong if it means a lot of goals are scored. That's fantastic. Tomorrow, another big day in sports. U.S. Open, NBA Finals, FIFA World Cup. Oh, and you're licking your chops if you're a sports fan. Salivating at the mouth hearing those 3 great events. It's going to be fantastic. Let's wrap up the poll question. 100% of you voted for Martin Keimer as your pick to win the U.S. Open. No votes for Ricky Fowler, Eric Compton, Henrik Stenson, or the field. You voted for no votes, not one vote, for any other player in the field other than Martin Keimer. Staggering numbers. Another staggering number is that the Spurs are up 3-1 over the Heat, stealing 2 games in Miami. with Game 5 at home. Game 6, if necessary, it's going to be Miami. And if Miami can pull off back-to-back wins, Game 7, hosted by San Antonio. I don't think the Spurs could lose 2 home games with a game in Miami if they need it. They're undefeated this series in Miami. This has been Sports Talk with Newton. I'm Newton. Tomorrow, score your goals, sink your putts, and get your buckets.